Welcome to another episode of the Let's Be Real podcast. You are here with your boy Dell,
How you doing?
and today we are just here to talk about life and what's going on with us and what's going on with you in the real world.
Yep.
All right. Now today we are drinking. What is this? This is Synergy, our good friend,
Don't
and
don't do synergy like that. We got the synergy trilogy flavor,
it's
and
amazing.
we have the Altos 100% agave reposado tequila today.
It's also amazing.
How's it going? How's your week?
Week was good. Week was good. It rained a lot, which sucked for me at least.
Yeah.
Working outdoors, the rain sucks.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
But other than that, it was a really good week. I'm alive, I'm kicking, I'm breathing, and if I'm 6 feet above the ground, I'm having a good week.
Hey, it's a good week in my book.
How,
But
how was your week?
my week was great. I had a great week. You know, weather's great. There might be some rain here and there, but it is what it is. At least it's not freezing.
I see today you're rocking that natural look. What's going on?
Oh yeah. You gotta switch it up once in a while. Get in touch with my roots. You know how it is.
Okay. Well, I'm getting in touch with mine. You know what I mean? Looking nice. You know what I mean?
Getting in touch with the scalp. I see
Yeah,
you.
I know. I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there. Before we even get into the topics, I was sitting there driving, and my drives are long and boring.
Hmm.
So my mind is just constantly working. And something that popped into my brain was religion. God only knows why.
Religion popped in your brain, huh?
That was it's like I said, I don't know why, but it made me think like, and we grew up in a Christian household
Yeah.
where Christianity slash Seventh Day Adventist, which I guess is the denomination of Christianity,
Hmm.
was big. And one of the things that made me I was thinking about was why.
Why it was big?
Pretty much like why was Christian being why was religion such a big aspect of our childhood?
Hmm. Uh, that's a good question. I think it was just from what we saw our parents do. Our parents were in the church, so we were in the church, and they made sure we were in the church. We didn't. It wasn't like we had a choice, so we had to go to church.
Now, do you believe in religion? I don't want to say Christianity because I could think I could say for you and I that we both believe there's a Christ.
Hmm. I'm gonna say I'm I'm leaving things up to question right now. I mean, I think there's a Christ. I think there's God, but everything else, is questionable to me. Not saying it's not true, but it's up for
Well,
debate.
well, you can have that way. I think there's a Christ, there's a Father, there's a Son, there's a Holy Ghost. But as far as religion goes, it's hogwash. It's bullshit. It's literally there to mind control people.
Mm. So you think that's what it's always been, to mind control people?
I don't think that's what it's always been, but I think that's what it's turned into.
Right.
You know,
Okay.
and my reason for that is because a lot of these cults they start off that way,
Hmm.
and a lot of them they try to use not even Christ per se, but religion per se. Because, like I said, I do, and I'm not, and I'll preface this by saying, not, I don't really, I'm not no professional when it comes to the Bible, which I also think is a bunch of hogwash, but that's for later on.
Hmm.
But I feel as if religion was meant, well, in my mind, growing up, I felt like it was there as a teaching guide. You know
Okay.
what I mean?
Yeah.
It was there to teach you right from wrong. It was there to teach you about a higher being. It was there to teach you to be what's the phrase? I think like to be not of yourself, but or above yourself. I can't think of the phrase,
Yeah.
but
But so you would say that religion did play a part in your life somewhat then.
um, religion. The only part I could say religion played in my life is that it made me feel as if there is something above me. There's someone beyond me. I didn't make myself,
Hmm.
and it I felt like it taught me that I need to be of help, to others instead of of myself because from the biblical sense, I guess you would say, Christ is of man. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So we have to be not of ourselves, but of a willingness to to be for others
Okay.
in a way, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But as far as religion in and of itself, it's a farce. It's bullshit. It's the people that sits on top looks at the people that sits on top and tries to figure out how they can get money from the people down below.
Okay. So you're saying the religion has good things in it, like, you know, being selfless, helping others, that type of thing. But you think the whole structure, basically, of like how they build up churches and that whole the way it's built, that's bullshit, and that is what caused corruption to the church.
Yes and no.
Mm.
Yes and no. I feel as if the church is there. The church in and of itself is supposed to be the body. You know what I mean? According to the Bible, and like I said, I'm not no Bible expert. I don't claim to have read the book from Genesis to Revelation and know every passage
Yeah.
within the book.
And just a warning too, I am the same way. Um, I'm not a Bible aficionado, so I don't. I'm not a Bible thumper, so don't think I'm gonna have the exact verses and the exact for
Exactly.
this. We can look them up if we need
Because
to. That's what Google's there for.
people sit there and act as if if you don't know Proverbs this and that verbatim, you don't know the Bible.
Hmm.
And let me start by saying the Bible in it of itself, I'm not gonna go as far as saying it's bullshit
Mm.
because I do believe there is a Bible, but think about this. There's 50 million different versions of the Bible in and of itself.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so you think that the Bible is not 100% true? Like there's things added or taken out? What do you think exactly?
I don't think the Bible is accurate at all.
Mm.
I think there's parts in the Bible that's accurate,
Hmm.
and there are many parts in the Bible that's not accurate. And my reason behind that is because the end of the day, the Bible is an interpretation.
Yes.
Because none of us, and I mean none of us in this world, was alive to see what Jesus said.
Right.
Was alive to see what Mark, Matthew, Daniel, any of these guys said. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They're basing their interpretation from scrolls and booklets or whatever else that they found in time.
Right. So what they would say is basically that these people who wrote the Bible, it was, I forget the exact word they used, but basically the word was ordained by God and given to them, and then they reported it out to people. So that's how they would put it.
But let me ask you this, and this is where I spit back at people. Who knows they were ordained by God?
I mean, there's no way to really prove that. You just have to believe it. I mean, just like the same as with Islam, they believe Muhammad, the prophet. I believe, and don't come from me because I don't know the story 100%, but I believe he was in a cage for X amount of time, and God spoke to him and gave him the word, and that's how we got the religion
And you're hearing a story, right?
correct.
It's all a story.
Hmm.
And this is why I sit there and say, I'm not saying the Bible isn't for real.
Hmm.
I'm not saying religion isn't for real.
Hmm.
But for a lot of people to take that as the end all be all, and what they try to say is when you try to push back at them, instead of having a conversation or a dialogue about it, they'll sit there and tell you, well, who told you 1 plus 1 is 2?
Right.
You're taught that 1 plus 1 is 2,
Mhm.
correct? But at the end of the day, that's your belief that 1 plus 1 is 2.
Mhm.
You know, you can say whatever you want to say. You can say 1 times 1 is 1,
Right.
but how are you gonna tell me 1 times 1 is 1? Because I could sit there and push back and says, "Well,
So
I have
basically, you're just saying that we just heard it out of somebody's mouth, and so we're expected to believe it.
exactly."
All right. All right. I mean, I get that. There's no way to for us to really know if these people said what they said or wrote what they wrote.
Which is true. But my issue when it comes to religion is they don't expect you to have a dialogue. They feel
Mm,
as if that if you oppose any part of their views, you're morally corrupt.
right. Yeah.
You don't believe in God, you don't believe in the Father, you don't believe in the Son.
Yeah.
And to me that is so far from what I would imagine God, you know, Jesus would want.
Right.
And that's where my trepidation comes when it comes to religion. And I'm not gonna say all religion, but I can only speak of from my perspective growing up into a Christian Seventh Day Adventist form of household.
Hmm.
You know,
Well, I mean, what I would say about religion, um, listen, I think religion has some good aspects to it. I think a lot of people need some type of religion. If they didn't, they would go crazy with day to day life. So I think there's pros to it. Um, but I don't think it's for everybody. And I feel like if it resonates with you and you like what you're doing and you're doing it for the right reason, then do whatever you want. If it makes you happy and you feel a connection to God. But if you're just going to church to talk to your friends, to gossip about other people, to be in a power structure, because the people in the church, they like to have power too. They like to be in this position and that position. That's that's not really religion or church. That's it being stretched and, you know, letting people put their own twist on what's important there.
let me throw you a question. Do you think pastors should have an actual job, or should a pastor be their only job?
Mm,
And I preface that by saying, and I'll tell you why I'm asking you that. I was sitting there speaking to a gentleman one time, a couple of years back now, and he told me that he was a pastor for a church, right?
hmm.
But I saw the man and he's driving a bus.
Right.
I'm like, the hell you doing? And he's like, yeah, this is my job. This is my day to day job. This is what pays most of my bills.
Mm,
And I'm like, hold on, but I thought you was a pastor. And he's like, yes, that's my calling. He's like,
right.
my calling is to be a pastor. My job is driving this bus.
Mm,
So, but because growing up in the Seventh Day Adventist religion, and they have conferences that pays pastors' bills and all that, like a regular job. You know what I
yeah.
mean? So I
Hmm.
said, I never understood. So I said, but that's I thought being a pastor was your job. And he's like, I couldn't forget. This is why I don't know. Maybe it was just I started driving and I saw the bus, and I haven't seen the bus in so long that it just jogged in my memory.
Hmm.
And the man said, anyone that sits there and says that their job is to be a pastor,
Hmm.
they're not of God.
Mm,
And it hit me, and I'm like, wait a minute, how are you not of God, but you're a pastor?
hmm.
And he said, think about it. These pastors now go to school, which I did.
Right.
These pastors now pastor a congregation, which he does.
Hmm.
But beyond that, they don't do anything for people. They don't do anything to further spread the word if they're not being paid for.
Mm. And that's my thing with it. Well, you know what? I never really thought of it in that way. and gotten that deep into the weeds of whether a pastor should get paid or not. I feel like the church, I don't feel like there's an issue with them getting paid, but I feel like the church should be generating some type of income to take care of its community and the people there. Like no one should have issues in the church. So if everybody's, you know, well fed, has a place to live, all that type of stuff, and everything's great, and you want to pay the pastor, okay. I mean, those are good incentives. You make everyone else feel good, you get paid. All right, I'm fine with that. But if you go to a church and there's people with issues and problems, people are not happy, which I know everybody's not gonna be happy, but I'm saying for the majority, and you're getting, a large amount of money where you're buying, you know, luxury stuff, that I'd have to look at and see what exactly is going on.
See, I wouldn't even be mad at the luxury. I'm not even mad at the luxury part. I'm not mad that a pastor's getting paid. I'm not mad that they're it's I would even get mad if they called it a job.
Hmm.
My thing is, and this is where I think, should a pastor be paid for a pastor in the church? I'm okay with that, right?
Hmm.
But should that be their sole income? Should that be the only thing that they depend on? Because at the end of the day, if your sole income is either maintaining a church or getting money from a church, do you really care? Are you gonna really care about that, or is that you're gonna look at that as a job? This is how I feed my family. This is how I take care of my life.
Right. But then what if that happened and there were no pastors?
I don't think that pastors are necessarily needed in per se. You know what I mean? I feel as if whoever's leading the church should be a person that has, and what that guy told me, he had to call in for it. He felt like it was something that he needed to do.
Correct. But what if you don't have enough of those people to to fill up the churches and to get people in?
I don't think there's anything wrong with the church paying a pastor.
Hmm.
I'm okay with that. But to me, a pastor should have another job.
All right. So that you just feel like it's okay to get some money, but just be doing something else because.
You'll see pastors now that they will go speak to another congregation, or they'll go to another church because they could get paid X amount of money.
Mm,
Does that make sense? You're getting your regular salary or whatever you're getting,
hmm.
but you get a stipend, an extra stipend for going 2 states over or 2 towns over to go preach at another location.
Hmm. Well, I mean, I guess it depends on how much work a pastor you feel like is putting in. Maybe the pastor is in the community a lot. Maybe he's really studying, getting in these sermons, and it's a full time job already. So for him to take on another one and then perform well at church, that could be a lot.
But and this is where my issue is. You're supposed to be of the people.
Yeah, but you still got to take care of yourself at the end of the day. You
You,
you,
you
you you can't help somebody till
but
you're
what
okay.
but what's taking care of yourself when you're not even doing jack shit for your parishioner, when your parishioner can't get a ride to work,
Right.
but yet you're sitting here driving a luxury vehicle.
Yeah. I mean, that's why to me it's case to case if you go that way. Maybe there are some pastors that are really out there doing the work, and maybe there's a lot that aren't as well.
And I'm only saying this because I mean there might be things that are, pastors that are out there like that, but me for saying, you as well, growing up in the Seventh Day Adventist church, I never saw that.
Mm,
I never saw that. To me, it was always. Let me not say that. I take that back. I've only seen it a couple of times. I'm not gonna go out, as far as saying, who and who, but I've
hmm.
seen it a couple of times in my lifetime being a Seventh Day Adventist. But for the most part, these pastors are out there for themselves.
Mm. So okay, those are the issues. How do we fix that then? What do you just think? We just got to find people that have the calling, and that's it.
No, I think it's too late for that.
Okay.
I think no matter what you look at when it comes to religion, it is too late. Religion is that's why I said religion to me is bullshit.
Hmm.
There's no coming back. Religion is like politics. It started out with a good idea, and it's been corrupted for so long that there's no fixing it.
Mm.
So to me, faith and religion are two different things.
Right.
Now,
I agree with you 100%.
do I have faith? Yes. Do I believe in Christianity and the Seventh Day Adventist belief system? Yes and no. But I do believe in the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost.
Yeah.
But as far as the construct of religion, as far as the Seventh Day Adventist Church goes, it's hogwash to me.
Mm. That's fair. I mean, like I said, everybody's different, and some people it's going to resonate with. Some people need it in their life, even if it's, some sham or whatever it is. They just need that type of interaction. But I feel like some people don't. And I feel that a lot of people are tired of what they see in the church, and they feel like there's another way, or there's, you know, this is what I would say. For a lot of people, they were given a religion since they were born. They weren't, they didn't pick it. When I was little, I didn't get to pick my religion. I didn't get to pick if I wanted to be a Muslim, or I didn't get to pick if I wanted to be a Buddhist or any other religion. So, you know, you just do what you're told. But what if I was born on the other side of the world? Would I be in another religion and have a whole different belief system? Chances are likely yes. So my thing about religion is really just go out there and find what's for you and what resonates, because at the end of the day, I feel like most of the holy books, whatever they are, the texts, the scrolls, whatever you got, I feel like they all kind of are hitting the same marks in a lot of areas. Like, you know, they all give you a pretty good way to go morally for your moral compass. And a lot of them do say the same things just in different ways. So when it comes to religion, I would say just pick whatever you resonate with, and and go with that, because that's what your heart really desires. Some people stay stuck in one thing just because I've did it all my life, and that's not necessarily what's best for you. So that's what I would say.
All right. So when you growing up, we believed in the Seventh Day. We followed the Seventh Day Adventist doctrine. Do you still follow the Seventh Day Adventist doctrine in your adult life right now?
In my adult life, I do not follow 7 Day Adventist doctrine. I believe, it's a form of Christianity. And the only real difference, I mean, there are some differences, but the major ones are you go to church on Saturday, and a lot of 7 Day Adventists are, at least were, vegetarian. That's changed, I'm hearing now. And yeah, there are a few other things, but those are some of the major ones. And they don't eat pork. I forgot about that one. That that
Mhm.
that, that is a major one.
Yeah, nobody wants to eat that thing. The swine
But
is not for us.
right, but other than that, yeah, it's a form of Christianity. So do I follow it? No. I mean, the church doesn't really do it for me. I feel like it's really pageantry, or it's really just, I'm going to be honest, I feel like the church can be like high school. And there's the cool people, and there's the people who care about this and that, and people just go somewhere to see each other, watch the performance, and go home. I'm not saying all churches are like that, but whenever I get a feeling of high school stuff going on and things like that, that's not a good place really to be. That's like when you were not very evolved. So that's one thing about churches to me. In terms of the book, like I said, I believe they have good teachings in them. I believe they, have great stories. The characters in there may or may not have been there, but the point is to tell the story and what happened, and and instill something good within you. So I think that's there. But I don't think it's necessarily for you to have a connection to God. I think you can do that without it, or whatever you want to call it, God, the universe, spirit, whatever you want to call it. I feel like people are just talking about the same thing. And religion mainly just divides people. Like,
Politics.
right, exactly. It's look at how many wars were started over religion, how many people died over religion. And it's supposed to be the stuff that brings you together. It does the opposite. And most people, they're kind of praising God the same way. So it's like, there's some differences here and here. But if you're not hurting anybody, I don't see the point of all the fighting. So I just think you find your way to God in whatever way it may be. I think there's some base rules. Don't harm anyone. Be nice to people. Don't try to screw people over. Don't kill anyone. And from there, it's up to your interpretation. Because just like all these other books, they came from someone's interpretation. So you take what you can interpret.
No, well, that's a good take on that because I feel as if religion now, for me,
Mhm.
it's do I have faith? I do have faith.
Let me ask you this then. What do you consider faith, or what is your faith now today?
My belief system is there is a higher being.
Okay.
There is someone that's greater than I, that's greater than supposedly, man,
Hmm.
that we didn't make ourselves. I do honest to God believe that.
Right.
I feel as if there's what do you call it? There is a one of the things that what they say, you see something, you can't see something, but you feel it.
Right. Yeah.
So I do feel as if there is a person out there, a spirit out there that tries to push you in a certain direction.
Okay.
But there's also, and that's why I say there's also the devil out there that's trying to push you in another direction. So
Hmm.
it's the the being of choice,
Like free will.
free will. He's given us the chance to make that right and wrong decision.
Mm.
It's not on a man telling you that this is right and this is wrong.
Hmm.
It's that system of free will of you're gonna make the choice of follow me and believe that there is light at the end of the tunnel.
Right. And if these people don't follow that end of the tunnel, what happens to them? What if they choose the wrong path?
And then they go down a dark hole
Hmm.
because there's consequences for it. We might not see the consequences now.
But so let me ask you this. This is what I'm trying to get at. So in the Christian faith, you do the wrong things, you be bad, you hurt people, you go to hell, and you burn. And I've heard it told, different ways. Either you burn once and the effects of the burn are forever, meaning you're dead, or you're in a lake of fire and you're burning and dying with your skin melting continuously. So that's what I mean by what do you think happens to these bad people?
I don't think necessarily you're gonna be in a lake of fire burning to, everlasting. I feel as if it's gonna be something where you were given that direction, you were given that opportunity to make a right and wrong direction, right and wrong decision,
Hmm.
and you made that wrong decision. And when you think about it, that wrong decision took you down a path of no return.
Hmm.
And I feel like hell is gonna be you continuously making that wrong decision, just reliving that wrong decision, that wrong moment for the rest of your life.
So just torture then.
I think it's just basically torture because I don't think God's gonna want to put you in a continuous ball of fire of pain.
Yeah.
That to
That
me seems cruel.
that is one of the things, that some faiths believe. At least that's how I heard it from my when I was growing up. But I mean, even what you suggested is also pretty cruel to me. Your brain would probably go to mush repeating it that many times if so
I don't know. I don't think so because at the end of the day, you're reliving. It's just like you're reliving your worst day, but you go to sleep, you wake up, you do your routine, but you're reliving that same day. It could have been the day you decided to go out and kill somebody, or it
Mm.
could be the day you decided to go out and
And so there's no end to it. You just
there's no
continue.
end. You're just living that same day
Yeah.
over and over.
Yeah. I wouldn't want any of that. I mean,
But to me, that's what hell is going to be. You're living
mm,
that same day. You don't realize you're living that same day over and over because you're going to sleep, you're waking up, you're doing your daily routine.
yeah. But if you don't realize it, then there's no point really. You just had a day.
I think you'll realize it eventually,
Mm,
but by the time you realize you've already lived it, there's nothing you can do.
mm.
So in your mind, like it might be towards the end of the day. That's what I feel like hell's gonna be.
Yeah.
You're gonna realize at the end of the day that you're living the same day you lived yesterday.
Mm. I mean, that's an interesting take on that. Um,
I just can't foresee God being so cruel that He's gonna burn you in an everlasting pit of torture and pain.
yeah, I mean that seems a little over the top, but I don't want to call God over the top if that's the case. But
And then if that's the case, then why give us free will? Why not keep us creatures of not even creatures? Why not just keep us idiots?
yeah, I mean that's a big part of why I am first of all, I'm a skeptical person anyways. So if you sit me down and ask me to logic things out, a lot of the stuff don't add up and a lot of them don't make sense. So yeah, like why did you give us free will if you were going to do that, and if you love us so much, why would we die that way continuously? That's not something you do that you love. So this is why I think religion has a lot of stuff that has been stretched and changed and adulterated, and so it's not really what it is, because there's books in the Bible or books that were not put in the Bible. We had certain people pick books, which books got to go in,
Exactly.
so you don't know what's out there. A lot of it doesn't make sense and isn't complete from the creation story. So it's like,
What was that?
so
The creation story, right? Adam and Eve.
right?
If God didn't want you to if God did not want you to eat that apple, why put that apple in your vicinity?
I mean, seems like a trap to me. But I'm just saying, why wasn't even close to me? Why was I even?
Why were you in the vicinity?
I
Why
think
say it to me
I
if that's the case?
I think that's a pretty important piece of fruit. I would not put that by the people that I don't want to eat
And then
it.
tell them not to eat it. Like just think about that.
Yeah, I mean, and that.
I'm okay. Let me ask you a question. I tell you that these three bottles sitting right here, right,
Hmm.
gives you everlasting life. This one does nothing to you, but it makes you feel good.
Hmm.
And this one gives you truth. But you're not allowed to drink the one that has everlasting life because I've already given you the one that gives you truth
Mm.
and the one that's not good for you.
Hmm.
So if I tell you these two are okay, but this one you can't drink it because it's gonna give you something that you didn't really know you didn't have
Yeah.
because you weren't told you didn't have.
Right.
Which one are you gonna drink?
I mean, it's gonna be take some willpower to just not take the one that seems the most alluring.
But then they also sit there and tell you that it wasn't God that told you, it was the devil that told you to eat of that fruit, right?
Right.
So God told you that it was there, but he also left you the free will option.
Not even that. He left you where the devil could get to you and
My
tell
point
you,
exactly.
like, he didn't think, nah, the devil, he might come around here one day and let these people who don't have the knowledge.
My point exactly as to why I think religion is
But yeah, I mean, that's just one story. You could go on about stuff about, like, if there's only two people and, it was just Adam and Eve, where did all the people come from? And then at another point,
so at the end of the day we're all related.
basically, I mean, and then you have, there's just so much. So from me, from a logical perspective, yeah, there's going to be a lot of holes that you can pick in the Bible and stuff like that. But I'm not saying the stories aren't good. They don't give you a spiritual feeling or something doesn't resonate with you. But what I'm just saying is, you're not. I don't feel like the whole truth is being told, and without those extra pieces that are out, you don't know what you're really doing. You may think you are, and it could be a whole different thing. And that's just my case for that.
My feeling on it, and this is where I kind of want to leave it with this is just like you have to pretty much interpret what you feel is right versus what is wrong. You know,
Hmm.
they also tell you that killing is wrong, right?
Hmm.
But if you're killing for the right reason, is that still wrong? If you're killing someone to prevent them from hurting someone else, is that still wrong?
Well, I mean, from the Bible stories, you could see that early, well, yeah, especially early on, God was just like killing people at the drop of a whim because you looked at him wrong or because you sneezed. He was killing people. So like, people always say the God in the Old Testament is different from the New Testament. And the God in the Old Testament, he did not care. He was gonna,
No, in the flood.
everything.
And then he felt so bad when he saw the destruction
Yeah.
that he said he would never do this again. I'm
So
pretty sure we've seen tsunamis.
there's been plenty of bad weather events. I don't know, a flood catastrophe maybe, but this is my thing too. With other religions and other books that predated the Bible, there are stories of floods and stuff like that. So it's like, was this just taken from that, or how did it go? Because there's stuff that is allegedly older than the Bible that has these same stories. So it's just like a lot of stuff that. But that's why my main thing is, like I said, just find what resonates with you. There could be a Eastern philosophy. To me, all those other religions seem interesting, and a lot of them say the same thing. They say that God is within you, you know, um, and if God is within you, He's always with you. So you don't need to go somewhere to praise Him or something like that.
And I'll leave it with religion as this way. Religion is faith. You know what I mean? It's just faith. It's not it shouldn't be broken down into so many different type of denominations where all they say is this denomination is incorrect and this person is incorrect. I feel like it's an abundant, as you said, it's an abundance of religions all mixed and put in together, and one person's extrapolated one thing, the other person's extrapolated another, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel as if religion, like that's why I don't think there is a form of religion that's right versus a form of religion that's wrong.
Yeah. To me, as long as you're not hurting anyone, and when I say hurt people, I mean just maliciously, for you don't really have a good reason. You're just hurting, not defending yourself. As long as you're not hurting anyone, I think God comes to people in so many different ways. Like, we're all different people, we're all unique. So, you know, if we were all unique, why would we express everything the same? There's just different things that people like, and it could be from New Age stuff, it could be from Eastern religion, it can be from Western religion, it could be from whatever you do that connects you to God. I feel like God is just living through us, anyways, and He wants the best for us, no matter how we get to that path of understanding.
You know, religion, honestly, when you look at it, is if we were all the same, we would all be black, we would all be white, we
Mhm.
would all be Spanish, we would all be French, whatever, you know. So there's different varieties,
Mhm.
there's different forms,
Right.
but at the core of it, it's all based off of faith.
Right.
And I think that's where a lot of these so-called pastors and bishops and whatever else you want to call them, they want to sit there and divide. They want to sit there, and this is why I don't have. You could say I'm Seventh Day Adventist,
Mhm.
but I don't follow their doctrine to the T
Yeah.
because it just makes no sense.
Mm.
Why is your way better and right versus another person?
Right. Like, I mean, and that's, I don't even think I identify with the 7 Day Adventist or Christian anymore. I think I'm just, you know, connected to God, and I'll find my way in whatever best way suits me. Like I said, as long as I'm not hurting anyone, as long as I have a connection to God and you're doing benevolent things, I don't think there should be an issue with that. I mean, that's, spreading love around the world.
About to catch hell for this take. You know that?
Hey, it is what it is. What's the podcast called?
Let's be real.
All right, I'm gonna be real.
But a lot of people don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that you feel as if the Seventh Day Adventist is not the right way.
I mean, I'm okay with what they don't want to hear. They don't have to listen to me. I'm telling you how I feel. I'm gonna say I don't believe there is one right way. I believe there are many ways to get to a goal. And why would God just funnel you through one little
Lens.
right, like one little lane? As long as people are coming to him and doing the right thing, I don't see the issue. I mean, you got to think of it from God's perspective. Why would he turn that away?
I would love for a Seventh Day Adventist pastor, whoever's out there listening, somebody who claims to be the end all be all that knows all this. I would love for them to sit here and explain to me why the Seventh Day Adventist religion, the Seventh Day Adventist doctrine, is the right one.
Yeah. And once again, I mean, he's entitled to that belief to me, but that doesn't mean I have to believe that. And that's okay. That's how the world should be. If we were like that, we wouldn't be fighting and having wars and doing silly stuff. But we
But
let stuff divide us so easily that, we make the game easy for them to do whatever they want, get whatever money they want. And then we're just here fighting over crumbs. Like, come on, be smart, guys.
why can't you have faith without having religion? That's what I want to know. I would love for one of the and I am asking any Seventh Day Adventist person, any Seventh Day Adventist pastor, if you think we're wrong, let's have a discussion, because I just can't understand why you can't explain to me why me having faith is an issue versus me being a Seventh Day Adventist. Because I've gone to churches where I've heard, well, if you're not a Seventh Day Adventist, you can't participate.
Hmm.
What does being a Seventh Day Adventist have to do with what do you call it? Honoring God or serving God?
Maybe you're right. Maybe the incentives are messed up because if they say you don't really need a church and people stop going to church, they don't have a job. So maybe there are some structures that need to be cleaned up so that, we get the right incentives to why you want to be a pastor and stuff like that.
And hence why, I can only speak on growing up from the Seventh Day Adventist aspect of it. And this is why I think it's a whole bunch of hogwash.
Yeah.
Because I looked up how much money the Seventh Day Adventist Church generates.
Hey, bro, these churches make a lot.
Just take a guess as to how much a Seventh Day Adventist. I'm only going from last year, just last year numbers. Guess how much money they generated?
We're in the millions or billions?
Huh,
Billions?
billions.
All right, like 50 bill.
Higher.
Ooh, they making some bread. 100.
$96 billion.
Yeesh. Big money. But compared to a lot of other churches,
That's nothing. That's a tip in hat.
that's crazy. So what are they doing with that money? Let's not get me down to conspiracy theory trails. When you want to go to the Vatican or any of these big churches, the Mormons, let me be quiet because
You
my
want them coming after you now.
yeah, you don't know. That's a strong gang over there.
But this is what I say. This is why I say I feel as if the church is worse than politics, because they don't give a damn about the people. They're lining their pockets.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much all of our institutions.
But the church is supposed to be different.
Oh, for
And
sure.
and then on top of that, the church is a tax-free entity.
Yeah, and remember they have to separate church and state because of how powerful it is. But it's still pretty powerful, and they're still kind of connected. And some of them still do whatever they want to do.
So I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, boy. Oh boy.
Yeah, let's save that for another time.
But this is why I say I would love for Seventh Day, anybody that's in the hierarchy of the Seventh Day Adventist Church, come, let's have a conversation.
Mm.
Prove me otherwise. Prove me otherwise.
Well, if they're listening, you know where to find us.
Because you can't tell me that if they weren't getting paid what they're getting paid, they were gonna be in that field.
Mm. I think they would just be like, we deserve to get paid or something like that. But it is what it is. And again, I don't think
I don't
they,
begrudge them. I don't begrudge you
yeah,
getting paid for
yeah.
it.
I just think incentives probably need to be better. How well your people are actually doing maybe should determine a lot of stuff.
I honestly don't even feel like it should be incentive based.
Mm,
I feel as though if this is something that you're supposed to do, that this is supposed to be a higher being, it's supposed to be a higher calling.
mm-hmm,
Because they're gonna sit there and not know exactly what they're gonna sit there and say. Well, how much do you get paid for your job? You get paid for it, right?
mm-hmm,
If you weren't getting paid for it, you wouldn't do it.
yeah,
But I'm not I'm not supposedly serving a higher being. I'm not supposedly serving a calling. Why should my livelihood be based on faith
mm,
or preaching faith? You know what I mean?
right.
And this is my disconnect. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know the inner workings. They got to come on here and have a conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind hearing it. I mean, I feel like I'm still gonna believe whatever I want to believe, but I am open to hearing other conversations and arguments for or against.
And on top of that, I'm willing to hear from what do they call it, a Muslim, a Sheikh, or whatever it is. Let me not say. I preface this by saying I'm not familiar with every religion out there. Don't hold me to how I say it.
Yeah.
But I'm willing to listen to the Hindu religion, and even though I don't understand it, where if you go by the Bible says you must live and recreate,
Hmm.
but a Catholic priest can't have a wife. Let that make sense. Let's have a conversation.
It's a lot of
A
questions.
lot of questions about it. I don't know everything. I don't even know a lot.
Yeah, but yeah, we're willing to learn if you got something for us. So
Go ahead, listen, like, subscribe, and let us know what you think. You
yeah,
know, and I preface this by saying religion was one of those things where you either, and then this is what I don't like, you either accept the religion or you don't, or you're wrong pretty
right.
much. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And that's what I don't like about it.
right. I think the best bet is just for people to, you know, it's hard to when you've been doing something your whole life to break free from it. But I think that's really the answer, is just to make sure what really resonates with you resonates, and you're not doing it just because, that you're doing it because this is truly what you believe. And yeah. So like, share, subscribe, and let us know what you think.
And that's this. And that's another episode of the Let's Be Real podcast. You are here with your boy F.
And
Let's go ahead, like I said, like he said, hit us up. Let us know what you think. It's a Let's Be Real podcast on all platforms: YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Let us know what you think.
yeah, more coming. You guys have a good one.